Hey everyone, I am Ashley, and if you didn't know, the wonderful Supernanny is back on Lifetime on Wednesday nights at 10. I am here today with, in my opinion, the child rearing guru, Jo Frost. And I have so many questions to ask you. I'm sure so many other people do. Can we get to it?
Absolutely.
Okay. What is your number one piece of advice for parents who are really struggling to put their kids down at night?
Be consistent and create a bedtime routine. Children need to feel safe. They want the predictable behavior from their parents, because that predictable behavior and that ritual lays down a foundation of safety and security. And children are at their most vulnerable when they're sleeping. So if it's predictable, and if we create a bedtime routine that allows children to know what's coming, they fall into that pattern quite easily and look forward to having parents home present without the interruption of technology or work, anything else, quite frankly.
One of the things that I love watching about the show, and even just in this conversation with you, is you're always present. You know, you see it when you're on the floor with a dad and his kids, or I feel it here, you know, like there's a connection when you talk to somebody. And I think that's why children respond to you so beautifully, why the families respond to you. And I wondered, you know, going into this, I wondered, like, what is it? What is it about Jo that's so, you just want to listen to her? And that's what it is, it's that you're present.
I thank you for recognizing that, because it does take that presence to help a family when they give you the honor to go into their home, to be able to help them. You know, that was a big deal, right? That was a big deal, because you weren't just asking me to go there privately, and I do a lot of private work.
Right.
You're opening up your home to millions worldwide, right?
Scary.
Very scary.
Yeah.
Very scary, because the apprehension of, will you be judged? What will people say? Will people be mean? You know, will they look at me and judge my love for my children? I see bravery. And then I see what you guys see at the end. And that is exactly what they can be. And I work backwards, right?
Personally, one of the things I've noticed, perhaps the biggest difference between the older show, the newer show, is that screen time is huge now.
Yeah.
And it's a constant battle that we all fight with our children. Do you have any tips on how to make your child more interested in toys as opposed to screens?
Yes, play with them.
That's that easy.
Play with them. I mean, that's the number one tip. Because, you know, we see these great commercials, right?
Yep.
Hot Wheels is looking good, and it's got this amazing backdrop, right? And all these toys, you see the kids playing, and you're like, oh, great. Then they'll just, all I have to do is show up at the shop and just buy it, right? And they'll just know what to do. And they play with a box, because you can tumble a box around, right? You can get inside a box, you can climb back outside a box, you can play around with it, right? But you have to teach your children in the beginning, right, how to play with a particular toy. If it has instructions, right?
Right.
If it's a toy that they're exploring, touch and feel sensory, then, you know, that's something very organic that the infant will do, right? But certain toys are about play and imagination. And there are other games where it's about rules and instructions and playing with them. And that is the early learning years, the importance, the fundamental importance of children under the age of 5, having that early learning experience, that human interaction, the importance of how the brain develops and the structure of the brain through human interaction, of being able to play and to learn and to enjoy. That's done through human interaction, not from an iPad, not from just sitting in a little cozy chair in front of the television.
Yeah.
That's about the experience, the human experience. So sometimes it's about taking parents out of their comfort zone and not feeling silly. Taking them out of a space of saying, kids need you to be silly. They need the inner child. They want you to goof around. And I goof around a lot, actually. I goof around a lot. You know, we can't always have a lot of music, you know, when we're filming because of rights and stuff with music. But I love to goof around in the kitchen and,
dance
you know,
parties?
dance. Oh, yeah.
That's big in our house.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's talk gadgets.
Okay.
So there's a zillion gadgets, all kinds of things out there for new parents to accomplish any number of things. Is there one gizmo gadget out there that you think is actually worth all the hype for a new parent?
God, there's so much that's sold as must-haves.
Yes, I feel like everything is kind of sold as a must-have.
There is still something that I feel is valuable today, and that is the baby monitor. And I would switch the video off of it, because when our eyes see, it disables our ears to interpret what those cries are. So I love the baby gadget for the reason it is designed, to be able to meet the needs of our baby when they're crying. But I want parents to be in tune and to develop that confidence with practice of being able to be in tune with their baby's cry.
Speak
and to
that
distinguish,
language.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think with practice, you actually intuitively start to feel that and know it. But when the video screen's on, it disables you, because you go straight to looking at the child to see whether they're okay, rather than hearing. And that, to me, I believe, can be the beginning of us really developing more intuition and that intuitive sense around our children and knowing.
I want to ask about napping. Piece of advice for parents who are really struggling with nap time. Nighttime, you said routine, consistency, that's kind of the key. Is there something different for naps?
So I think it's important for every parent to recognise the amount of sleep that their children need based on their age. And certainly if we're thinking about those toddler years, then we know that it's important for them to have a morning nap and an afternoon nap that then becomes maybe one nap, in the afternoon, that then becomes ultimately maybe a cat nap if you've had a wild weekend and you've been very busy. But it is essential. So when you think about that, it's important to have those naps to support the healthy evening sleep as well.
So my last question for you, do you have one piece of advice, one thing to say to parents that feel like they're failing? Because I think we all have those moments. And I think, you probably encounter parents who feel this for more than just a moment.
I would say, oh, bless them parents. Seriously, it's tough. It's tough for them because they feel like they're failing. They put so much pressure. Parents can be their worst own enemy, right? Put so much pressure on themselves to be so perfect, And parents are so scared of screwing up their kids. They're so scared of screwing up their kids. I would say that every time you give yourself a negative thought, that you've got to come back with two positive ones. That is what I would say, because that's about where your mindset's at, right? Like this was bad today. I did this and this was awful. Then give yourself two things you did do. That was right. Because there definitely was a couple of things in that day that was right. Even if you overall felt on a mental level, right, that you was a failure today. There will be a couple of things that you will need to see about yourself that you are doing. Everything that I'm doing encompasses family wellness, because that's really what we're talking about. The heart of feeling really good about your parenting journey and you being the best parent that you feel that you can be, which is a process, right?
Of course.
It's a journey, it's a process, right? And getting the best out of your kids in the way that they can just thrive. You kind of have to be a gardener and a carpenter, don't you, at the same time? You know what I mean, right? At the same time, you have to be both.
So for anyone who wants to ask you a question or reach you, where can they find you?
They can go to Jo Frost on my Twitter or jofrost.com on my website.
And you actually answer the questions.
I do.
That's so nice. New episodes of Supernanny are on Lifetime, Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Thank you again, Jo.
Thank you.